Captain Adam stepped off the bus and felt the cold morning air of the large training base. His Royal Guard team walked behind him in quiet order, boots moving in the same calm rhythm. Their uniforms looked perfect, but today was not about looks, it was about ability and control. Across the open ground, soldiers from the United States Army watched with curious faces. Some looked friendly, some looked doubtful, and some looked like they were ready to judge fast. Adam did not react. He kept his eyes forward and his mind steady. He had trained for years to stay calm when many eyes were waiting for a mistake. Colonel Harris met them near a wide field where flags moved softly in the wind. He greeted Adam with a firm handshake and a simple smile that did not give away thoughts. He explained the rules in a clear voice. The test would be real, the standards would be strict. No special treatment, no easy path, and no shortcuts, only performance and discipline. Adam listened carefully and repeated the key points to his team in a low voice. The Royal Guard members nodded, not with excitement, but with focus and respect. They were not here to compete for pride, they were here to measure themselves honestly. The first task started with a long endurance run while carrying heavy gear. A loud signal marked the start, and both groups moved forward like a wave across the track. Many believed the Royal Guard would slow down because their public role seemed different. But Adam set a steady pace, not too fast, not too slow, just strong and controlled. His team stayed close, matching steps, saving energy, and keeping breathing smooth. Army instructors watched their timing and posture, noticing how little wasted movement they had. The run became a quiet lesson, not of speed alone, but of discipline that never broke. As the distance grew, the sun climbed higher and the heat began to press down. Sweat gathered under helmets, shoulders tightened, and legs started to burn for everyone. A few soldiers began to push harder, trying to pull ahead, trying to prove something early. Adam did not chase them, he stayed with the plan, reminding his team with quick hand signs. He knew panic steals energy, and loud effort often hides poor control. The Royal Guard team kept a clean rhythm, like a metronome inside their bodies. When they reached the finish, their time surprised even the people holding the stopwatches. After the run came a section that tested balance, coordination, and smart movement. They crossed walls, climbed ropes, and moved through narrow spaces while carrying extra weight. This part looked simple from far away, but small mistakes could cost time and strength. Adam studied the route for a moment, then guided his team with short, clear cues. One member slipped slightly on a beam, but another quickly steadied him without drama. That quiet teamwork impressed the instructors more than loud celebration ever could. Their completion time landed near the top group, and the observers grew more silent. Then the schedule shifted to a stress room designed to challenge thinking under pressure. Inside, bright lights flashed, alarms sounded, and instructions changed with fast sudden turns. Many people fail here because the mind becomes noisy, and the hands begin to rush. Adam took one slow breath and grounded himself, then he spoke to his team calmly. He assigned roles in simple words: who watches, who reads, who moves, who checks. The Royal Guard members worked like parts of one machine, smooth, steady, and alert. Colonel Harris watched closely, realizing these were not just ceremonial guards at all. A map task appeared on screens, showing routes, signals, and time limits. Teams had to choose the safest path while reacting to new information every few moments. The room tried to confuse them, but Adam kept his voice low and his message clear. He reminded them to confirm each step, to speak only what matters, and to move with purpose. A young Army instructor raised his eyebrows when the Royal Guard team corrected an error quickly. They did not blame anyone, they simply fixed it and moved on, saving precious seconds. When the final buzzer ended the task, their score ranked higher than most expected. Outside again, the wind felt cooler, and the base looked even bigger than before. Soldiers gathered near the evaluation boards, trying to see the numbers without staring too hard. Some looked shocked, not angry, but surprised in a way that made them rethink old ideas. Adam noticed the looks and understood them. People often judge what they do not know. He did not smile or boast, he only checked on his team and made sure everyone was fine. They drank water, adjusted gear, and prepared for whatever came next without complaint. For them, The best answer to doubt was steady action, not words. As the day moved forward, Colonel Harris walked beside Adam for a moment. He asked, in a calm, respectful tone, how the Royal Guard trains for this level of control. Adam answered simply, their duty demands patience, timing, and absolute focus in every moment. A small mistake in their world can become a big problem, so they train the mind first. Colonel Harris nodded, as if the idea clicked into place like a lock turning. He said the next phase would be harder and would test more than strength or speed. Adam replied that they were ready, not because they were fearless, but because they were prepared. When evening came, the sky turned soft orange over the wide open field. Adam stood near the barracks window and watched his team quietly clean and organize gear. No one acted like a hero, no one acted like a victim, they just handled the routine. He knew tomorrow could bring surprises, and the army would push them in new ways. Still, something had already changed on this base, and he could feel it in the air. The soldiers who watched earlier now watched with a different kind of respect. And Adam understood the real test had only started, but the story was already growing bigger. Morning arrived with a sharp chill and a sense of quiet pressure across the base. Adam woke before the signal and checked on his team one by one. Faces showed tiredness, but eyes stayed clear and focused. Today was about control under pressure, not just strength. The army instructors gathered early, preparing the next phase without small talk. Whispers moved between soldiers as they glanced at the Royal Guard team. Everyone knew the second day would separate confidence from real discipline. The next challenge began inside a large training hall filled with moving lights and loud sounds. This section tested decision-making while stress tried to break focus. Commands changed quickly, and false signals appeared without warning. Many teams failed by rushing or freezing when plans collapsed. Adam raised his hand slowly and grounded his team with calm gestures. He divided tasks clearly using simple words and steady tone. The Royal Guard moved like one body, adjusting without panic or confusion. Screens flashed routes, threats, and time limits that shifted every moment. One wrong choice could ruin the entire exercise. Adam watched the patterns instead of reacting to noise. He trusted his team to speak only when sure and act only when ready. An army evaluator leaned closer, noticing how few words were used. Silence became their advantage while others filled rooms with shouting. When the final signal ended the task, their score shocked the observers. After a short break, the focus moved to controlled combat training. This was not about anger or power, but balance, timing, and awareness. Pairs were matched fairly under strict safety rules. Adam faced Sergeant Mike, a skilled and respected army trainer. They circled each other, slowly reading movement and intent. Adam waited, letting Mike commit first, then responded with clean technique. The match ended quickly with control, not force, and respect from both sides. Other Royal Guard members showed the same discipline in their matches. They helped their partners stand and stepped back without pride. Army soldiers began to nod quietly, understanding what they were seeing. This was training shaped by restraint, not aggression. Instructors wrote notes faster than before, trading looks of surprise. The atmosphere changed from challenge to curiosity. People wanted to understand how this calm strength was built. Later, the teams faced a long coordination drill involving equipment and timing. Heavy objects had to be moved across uneven ground as a unit. Speed without planning caused failure for many groups. Adam slowed his team at first, studying the path carefully. He assigned positions based on balance, not rank. Each member trusted the other fully and adjusted without complaint. They completed the task cleanly, saving energy while others struggled. As the sun lowered, fatigue settled into every muscle and thought. This was the moment when discipline often breaks. Adam gathered his team briefly, speaking in a low, steady voice. He reminded them why they trained, not for praise but for duty. The army instructors watched, noticing how morale stayed strong. No shouting, no pressure, only trust and shared purpose. That quiet leadership held the team together when exhaustion tried to pull them apart. By evening, the results of the second day were posted quietly. Numbers spoke louder than any words could. The Royal Guard team ranked among the top performers across every category. Some areas showed results higher than expected even by elite standards. Soldiers gathered around the board trying to understand what they saw. Adam stood back focused only on his team well-being. He knew the hardest tests were still ahead and pride could weaken focus. Colonel Harris approached Adam with a thoughtful expression. He admitted the results challenged many old ideas. Adam responded simply saying discipline looks different in every role. They stood in silence for a moment watching the base settle for night. Respect had grown not through noise but through consistency. The second day ended without celebration, only preparation. And the ground was set for a third phase that would test the mind even deeper. Night covered the base like a heavy blanket, and the third phase began without comfort. Adam noticed the change in the air because this part was built to drain the mind. Lights stayed bright in some areas and too dim in others to confuse the body clock. The schedule was unclear on purpose and rest would come in small broken pieces. Army instructors moved like shadows with clipboards and calm faces. The Royal Guard team stayed together and spoke less than ever. Adam knew this was the phase where small mistakes grow into big problems. The first task of the night was a planning drill with limited time and shifting details. A large table showed maps and markers, and the team had to build a safe route plan. Every few minutes new information arrived changing the best choice. Many teams argued or rushed and lost time before they even decided. Adam kept his voice steady and asked for short updates from each member. He listened then chose a simple plan that could adapt instead of a perfect plan that could break. The evaluators watched closely as the Royal Guard completed the brief with calm control. Soon after the planning drill they were moved to a long equipment handling section. They had to organize supplies, count items, and prepare packs under strict time limits. It sounded easy but fatigue makes simple steps confusing. One Royal Guard member named Omar almost missed a count because his eyes were heavy. Adam noticed quickly and tapped the list, then nodded to keep Omar focused. No one laughed and no one blamed because teamwork mattered more than ego. They finished the check without missing anything, and the instructors wrote more notes. Near midnight the stress room returned, but this time it was harder and longer. Sounds were louder and the instructions were designed to contradict each other. A screen showed urgent warnings while another screen showed calm messages. The goal was to see who would follow panic and who would follow logic. Adam told his team to trust the rule set, not the noise. They confirmed each step twice in quick, quiet ways and moved only after agreement. When the task ended, the Army evaluators looked surprised by how few errors appeared. Outside the hall the air was cold again and the team walked in silence. A few Army soldiers passed by and gave small nods of respect. The Royal Guard did not react strongly because they were too tired for pride. Adam checked faces and posture and saw the heavy weight of the night phase. He knew the body could be pushed but the mind needed protection from doubt. So he kept the team close and used short simple words to keep them steady. This quiet care kept fear from creeping in when the night felt endless. Before dawn the teams were sent to a wide open field for a navigation drill. Each group received directions that were partly clear and partly confusing. They had to find markers placed far apart and report back with correct codes. The ground was uneven and the wind cut through clothing. Adam led the first steps, then let each team member take turns leading the next stage. This shared responsibility kept everyone awake and reduced mistakes. They found the markers without rushing and returned with correct codes to the base. When the sun finally rose it did not feel like victory, but it gave fresh energy. Many soldiers looked worn out and some looked angry at the test itself. The Royal Guard team looked tired too, but they stayed calm and respectful. Colonel Harris watched them from a distance with thoughtful eyes. He had seen strong bodies fail when minds broke under pressure. But this team showed something different, a steady inner balance. It was clear their training had built patience that could survive long stress. The next challenge was a strategy review where teams explained choices from the night. Instructors asked sharp questions trying to expose weak logic or guessing. Some teams defended themselves loudly and got more confused as they spoke. Adam answered quietly and clearly, using simple reasons and clear steps. He admitted small risks and explained how they reduced them with teamwork. This honesty impressed the evaluators because it showed awareness, not pride. When the review ended, the room felt more respectful than competitive. Later they faced a long coordination drill with timed signals and quick shifts. One mistake would restart the whole sequence and waste precious energy. Adam told his team to focus on rhythm and not on fear of failure. They moved step by step, calling signals softly and confirming with hand signs. A loud buzzer sounded once from another team, making everyone jump. The Royal Guard did not jump because they expected distraction. They completed the sequence cleanly and earned one of the best scores. As afternoon came, the third phase finally slowed and the base felt quieter. Adam allowed his team to rest for a short time and drink warm water. He watched them lean back with eyes closed and slow breathing. He knew the final phase was coming, and it would test heart and identity. This was no longer only about passing a military test. It was about showing what discipline really means when comfort is removed. And even in fatigue, the Royal Guard team held their calm like a strong shield. Colonel Harris called Adam to a short meeting in a small office. He spoke with honesty, saying these results were beyond what he expected. Adam replied that their job teaches them to stand steady even when the world is loud. Colonel Harris nodded and said the final phase would be a combined team challenge. Royal Guard and Army would work together and face one problem as one unit. Adam felt a new kind of pressure because leading strangers requires trust fast. He agreed and promised to respect the Army way while bringing his own calm method. Then he left the office knowing the final part could change everything for everyone. The final phase started with an unusual rule that surprised everyone on the base. Colonel Harris announced that the last test would not be Royal Guard versus Army. Instead, it would be mixed teams working together under one mission-style challenge. Some soldiers looked unsure because trust is not built in one day. Adam also felt the weight of this change because leadership becomes harder in new groups. Still, he understood the purpose because real strength is tested in cooperation. He gathered his Royal Guard members and reminded them to stay calm and respectful. Then he walked toward the Army group, ready to build teamwork fast. The mixed team received a scenario based on rescue and protection under pressure. They had to move through a large training zone with obstacles and timed decisions. The goal was to complete tasks while keeping the group safe and organized. A young Army soldier named Ben looked nervous and kept checking his gear. Adam noticed and gave a simple nod to steady him without making him feel weak. Sergeant Mike joined the group too, and his face showed serious focus. They did not speak much at first because each person was measuring the other. But the mission began quickly, and there was no time for hesitation. The first obstacle required carrying equipment across uneven ground while staying silent. Noise would trigger a penalty, and time was already tight. Some Army members wanted to rush, but Adam raised his hand and slowed the pace. He used short, clear signals and asked Sergeant Mike to lead the rear check. Mike understood and accepted the role without argument. Ben followed Adam closely, watching how calm movement saved energy. The team crossed the area with clean control and avoided the penalty. When they reached the checkpoint, the instructors marked their performance with surprise. The second obstacle was a decision station with two possible routes. One route was faster but harder, and the other was slower but safer. Teams had to choose quickly using limited information. Ben suggested the fast route because he feared losing time. Adam listened, then asked one Royal Guard member named Omar to scan the ground signs. Omar spotted a hidden risk that most people missed. Sergeant Mike agreed with Adam that the safer route would protect the team from failure. They chose the safer route and later learned the fast route had a trap penalty. As the mission continued, fatigue returned like a wave, pushing on shoulders and focus. The training zone was long and the tasks demanded constant attention. At one point, Ben stumbled slightly and almost dropped part of the equipment. Mike reacted quickly, but Adam reacted with calm and guided Ben to reset his grip. No one mocked him and no one shouted. That small moment changed Ben because he expected harsh words but received steady support. Ben began to breathe slower and move with better control. The team became stronger because one member felt safe enough to recover. The next challenge forced the team to communicate under loud, distracting noise. Orders came through a speaker, but parts were unclear and time was short. Many teams in the past failed here because they argued about what they heard. Adam used a simple method and asked each person to repeat only the part they were sure about. Mike confirmed key words and Omar tracked the timing while Ben watched the equipment. Within moments they built the full instruction without panic. They moved with confidence and completed the task before the time limit. The instructors exchanged looks because the teamwork looked natural, not forced. Near the end of the mission, a final obstacle appeared that tested trust directly. The team had to carry a heavy load over a narrow path while staying balanced. One person alone could not do it, and even two people would struggle. Adam positioned the group by height and strength, but also by calmness. He placed Ben between two steady members so he would not feel pressure. Mike took the front, and Adam took the center, keeping the rhythm stable. They moved slowly with small steps and matched breathing as if they trained together for years. When they reached the finish line, the timer showed one of the best results of the day. After the mission, the mixed teams gathered for the final evaluation briefing. The hall was quiet and the air felt different from the first day. There was less judgment and more respect moving between people. Colonel Harris spoke clearly and admitted that the Royal Guard results were impressive. He said the shock was not only the scores but the style of discipline shown. He explained that calm control can be as powerful as speed and strength. Many Army soldiers nodded because they had seen it with their own eyes. Adam stood still and allowed the words to land without pride. Sergeant Mike stepped forward and shook Adam's hand in front of everyone. He told the room that he expected a tough visitor but found a steady professional. He said the Royal Guard did not come to show off, and that made the respect real. Ben also spoke quietly, saying he learned more in one day than he expected. He said the calm leadership helped him stay focused when pressure rose. Adam listened without changing expression, but inside he felt a quiet satisfaction. Not because they won but because they earned honest understanding. The room felt united in a way that no scoreboard could fully show. Later outside the hall, the base looked calm under the late sun. The Royal Guard team prepared to leave and packed their gear carefully. Army soldiers walked over one by one, offering handshakes and small smiles. Some asked about training methods, and Adam answered with simple, honest words. He said discipline is built by repeating small things correctly every day. He said respect grows when people control their emotions and care for teammates. Colonel Harris thanked Adam and invited future joint training sessions. Adam accepted and promised that cooperation would make both groups stronger. When the bus finally moved away from the base, Adam looked out the window. He watched the flags fade into the distance and thought about what really happened. The results were shocking to many because they expected loud power and quick aggression. Instead, they saw quiet excellence built from patience and controlled effort. Adam knew the story would spread, but he hoped the lesson would spread further. Strength is not only how hard someone can push. Strength is also how steady someone can stay when pressure tries to break them. And that kind of strength had been proven in every step of this test.